All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, my neighbors. How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Before You Take the Trade. I am your analysis over here, JD the Great, and we're going to go ahead and get started. If you have not hit the like and subscribe button down below, by all means, go ahead and take the opportunity and hit the like and the bell button. Also, my Instagram and Twitter is down below. Go ahead and follow me. Sometimes I drop some very interesting gems and levels. And if you don't have a trading community, by all means, come on over to the cheat code. I'm one of the partner coaches over there, and we can, learn and earn all together. All right. So let's go ahead and get in the chart. So the dollar did something that was very interesting, and it's kind of it's kind of doing what I expected it yesterday. So if you have not seen my information from what I said yesterday as far as the dollar, you'll start to pick up on a couple of things that happened. So let's get deep into this. So we had a nice little push down, right? And that was a little bit earlier in the market, especially when we kind of released all of our information. And you could kind of see we went ahead and popped all the way up. And then towards the end of the day, especially around power hour, everything started to pull back. Now, the funny thing about when it pulls back, it's almost like the market is giving that breathe, that sigh. Those are your retracements. Those are the time and opportunity for you to be able to kind of like pull it back and just be like, okay, you know what? Now I'm tired of running. Let me just go ahead and get a little bit of something to drink or something to eat. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for the next race. And it seems very similar to what's happening right here. So that said, it looks like the dollar is starting to get through my order block, which is one angle I did put here. Actually, let me put this on the 1 hour. I think that's what we did yesterday. Yeah, I think this was 1 hour. So we had all these deviations of angles, right? And with those angles keeps on changing, it basically brings us back to a point where it allows for us to get those breathing rooms in itself. So here's our break of a downward trend line. Oops, I just moved that back. Here's a break of this downward trend line that was here. Here's a break of this other angle of the downward trend line right there. And now this is where we start to bump our heads, right? So I think we're probably going to get a little bit of a push to the upside. And if we get that push to the upside, we're probably going to go ahead and get a rejection roughly around here. One, we got a little bit of that jambalaya rice type of order block that's sitting right here. We also just went ahead and continued to that upside. Also, you can kind of see the MACD is a little exhausted. The stochastic is exhausted. We got reversal boxes popping up on the CC swing and squeeze. These are the things that you want to kind of keep your eye on when you start to get to levels of resistance, and this is a perfect example of that. So I am looking for a maybe a little bit of a pullback. It might be a news catalyst or whatever the case may be, but I can see we'll bump our heads against the wall when we get to the dollar here. All right, let's go ahead and get to the most important thing. Let me ask y'all a question when it's all said and done, and then y'all could go ahead and type into the chat. Oh, you know what? I did promise. Let me go to my previous stream, which was yesterday, and grab my questions just in case anyone had put some in there after the show. Did promise I was going to do that. That was this one here. All right. Looks like okay, cool. Just want to make sure I didn't leave out any questions. All right. But I just closed the wrong tab. Hold on, bear with me as I get my bearings back. Cause I didn't mean to close it. I need this current sessions. All right. Live stream. Boom. Oh, where is my chat for my live stream? Hold on. Always one thing. Look, at the end of the day, TradingView, you should have it a little bit easier for us to get back to our live stream if we change up in here. I'm clicking live here and I cannot see it. Maybe if I go to community and then live streams, maybe I'll get it there. Yep, there it is. Boom, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, now I got my bearings. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the Nasdaq. But yeah, I do have a question for anyone as far as when you're taking your trade, and you can put it in the chat. Like, what is your key item that you're looking for? Key level that you're looking for? Is it resistance? Is it support? Is it against the trend line? Is it above the trend line? Or are you a breakout trader? Or are you, or what type of trader you are? So just go ahead and put that in the chat. And also, any tickets you want me to put against the cheat code algo, that way you can see some of the levels. Let me know, and I will put that against it and see where we sit. All right. So let's go ahead and get deep into the Nasdaq. All right. So you can see on the Nasdaq here that we are basically starting to break that upward trend line. I drew this upward trend line, I believe, on a 2 hour. Yep, there we go. So nice little uptrend, nice and solid. And then yesterday's price action, I think we're in the middle of a potential retracement that allowed for others to come in. We just took out, oh, we got to break a structure right here. Nice little break of structure. Now we're going to go ahead and get rid of this overnight session right here. I should have practiced. I was thinking about taking a practice trade on this. So I am looking for a potential bringing back to 16,398. If I could get a nice little move there. Right now on a 2 hour, we got a lot of imbalances here. A lot. You got one that's right here, bearish. You got one that is here. That's going to be a challenge. They may come back and fill this one. That could be a big target for the bulls. This one's been above the 200. So that could be one that they come after. So I'm looking for these levels or these areas to see if the market's going to respect it. But right now we're putting in even lower lows, and it looks like it's trying to make a nice little drive. Right now, this potential up downtrend that I drew on yesterday, it looks like it's an official downtrend. Enough for us to break right on through and pretty much burn the market down. All right, so I just want to see what it does here. And now that we have that, I have a different angle of that downtrend, which is this one here. And with the market still pushing down even further and harder to the downside, we even have another angle of that downtrend that looks like this. So something's got to give, something's got to be tested, and we'll see if any one of these are tested. We'll see that on tomorrow. Next one we're going to talk about is crude oil. Crude oil has been a bit on the tear to that downside a little bit. Then it kind of popped up in the middle of the day. Oops, I put the wrong ticker. There we go. Boom. And here's CL. It's been a little bit on a tear, right? Nice price movement. You could pretty much make some really good money with oil, especially the way that we're on this downtrend, and it looks like every time we come to that downtrend, it keeps bumping its head. So this right here was an angle that I kind of had that started from the original. So we've been on this track since September, roughly. So if we take a new angle here, you'll see that the cheat code algo is giving you a good sign of where we want to be. Now, remember this. I want y'all to understand when I was asking about supports and resistance like 2 seconds ago, and I was like, hey, what type of trader you are? Go ahead and put it in the comments in the chat. That way I could get an idea. This is why I was asking the question, is because of something like oil here. Oil has been doing a lot of movement to this downside, but it's coming to what I consider that jambalaya rice again. Well, we just been dancing roughly around that 67 to 71 price. So I kind of boxed it out with some lines, and we are struggling to get through it again. So they're trying to form uptrends. Here's one. This was one that they tried, but it broke, and they couldn't hold its position. That was one. And then now with the market the way it's going now, it looks like we're trying to create one that is a potential uptrend on this angle, trying to break this new angle of a downtrend. The only concerning thing I would say with this one is that I don't think that we're going to try to break this out really far. I do think they're going to keep on bumping their head against that weekly downward angle. This is from the pandemic. Ever since then, oil has not ran the way that it did in the pandemic. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Nice little cross on the MACD is possible. They're suppressing it. It's being held down. Every time it looks like it's going to come up, it looks like it's being held on the south side of the zero line on the CC swing. And the stochastic is pointing down right now. So this is giving me a nice inclination that today is going to be probably a bearish time for oil when it's all said and done. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to gold. Gold is looking really, really nice, really, really tasty. Probably go ahead and continue to that downside move. I'm just looking to see how much the bears have pressure from when we had those highs. Here's one. We'll call this a potential downtrend. And then we had this uptrend that's over here. This is the one that kind of started when the war kind of exploded. New angle right here. And that basically is our levels, our angles that we're looking for. So I'm looking for a possible, since we are still in this golden cross, we may get a bounce off the 50 EMA. Right now the 50 is sitting at 21,720 oh my god, 2017, and it looks like it wants to kind of bounce already. Got a little wick action that's happening on the daily. I could see it come all the way back down, bounce off the 50 EMA, retest, and see if this angle is going to hold to the downside, or is it going to go ahead and try to break down. It's so early in the morning, I can't even talk right now, right? So keep an eye on these levels, keep an eye on these angles. This is probably going to be one of the targets that we're going to be looking for when it comes down to gold. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to tweak this a little bit and keep an eye on gold, because I could see this happening in the middle of the day. Going to put a nice little alert. Is this the bounce? All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. All right, so next one we're going to be looking at is silver. Silver has been doing its thing. Like I said, whenever you see gold and move, silver tends to do almost the same thing. And you can see this wick action that has happened on their 200. That's probably putting pressure on some of the commodity traders to go ahead and trade gold with silver. It's downtrend. It just looks like compressing price. I want to see what happens with this. I'm leaning that it's going to go ahead and come down first, give it explosion, and it's probably going to hit like a key level like this morning star that kind of formed right here and kind of have that bounce, or it might come all the way back down to this block. I think this one here is the one that's going to go ahead and get us in that level that I showed you on gold and push us right back up. That's what it looks like. But you never know the way the price action goes. You don't know if they're going to put more weight on the gold or silver. So I'm looking for this to bounce on either. I think this will be too shallow, but we could mark this off as well. 22.805, 21.895, or 21.025 is probably the areas you want to see a bounce. And then you can find out how much pressure has been made on this potential downtrend. I can see that happening. Maybe by the end of the week, we'll see how that goes. All right, Thursday, tomorrow we'll break that down further. All right, British pound. British pound has been doing this thing. Basically, everything that we've been facing, they go up, we go down. Oh, sorry, we go up, they go up, we go down, they go down. So they kind of follow the market because of the strength of the dollar. Right now, the British pound broke that potential level that I was telling y'all about yesterday. It came and hit the brakes right on this level because this is previous. But right now, it looks like a M pattern. However way you want to look at it, maybe a major, wrong tool, maybe a major M pattern from here to here, and then start to break down. Or it could be an M pattern that is starting roughly from this one, hit the peak, more intraday type of M pattern. Either way, for those that cheat code, you already know how to do the measure move. About 187 ticks brings us back down to roughly around this area to the 200. We only take about 50% of the move. So we're going to measure that out. Boom. And boom. So I'm looking for this level right here. This will probably give us a nice rate of return. So I'm looking at 1.2517 is where the British pound will fall to sometime between now, next week, maybe the end of next week. All right, so look out for that level. Let's go ahead and continue on. Natural gas. All right. So natural gas has been doing its thing as well. Kind of looks like oil a little bit, like it wants to take off. But I think this bear flag is going to play out. We couldn't really get all those angles that I was telling you about. I thought yesterday I was going to finally do it and get to this point and then break down. But this resistance area was tough. It was really tough. They never got back up to it. And this is a multi-level point. So I'm thinking that natural gas is going to go ahead and continue to its downside because it cannot make no upward momentum. Now, continue to the downside can take two forms though, right? So we had this bounce, this level rejected it, and it could just consolidate over and over until they figure out how to get over here and then eventually fall to the downside. So that is a possibility. So this could be just a nice consolidation cycle, especially when we're starting to put a bend here. Maybe one more push. Maybe one more push. You never know. We might get a little support somewhere a little bit earlier and then push in that angle. So look for natural gas to completely compress itself from a very odd angle, depending on how it looks with the lower time frames, all the way down to this down upward trend line. Test it and then bounce because we've already held up above the 50% of what would have been that order block. I think this order block was built on. I do it in 1 hour. Yep. So 1 hour, nice little gap right here. I could tweak that a little bit. They tried to fill it completely. They got a good chunk of it, and guess what it did? Came back for these imbalances. I'm looking at possibly, again, just possibly, not saying that this is the angle, maybe something like this of a lower time frame angle that's going to bring us back into this line. Actually, I want it sharper than that. I was thinking something more like this. From here, I know this one's still forming, but we got 10 minutes, so I'm going to use it anyways. Something like this, maybe. That would be a nice little area for us to finally retrace, get the rest of this imbalance in this gap, and then maybe even test some of these imbalances that's over here on this 1 hour, but we'll find some support maybe here. Let me see. Yeah, maybe here. So yeah, I would say maybe around Friday or Monday, maybe we get ourselves a nice little bounce on natural gas when it finally hits one of these levels and it kind of continues itself back up to the upside. All right. Last one. There's the Russell. Let's go ahead and look at the Russell. You already know how the Russell works. It pretty much leads off the market. And right now, that head and shoulder that I drew is looking more and more like it's coming to fruition. I'm looking at probably midweek or so. We might give ourselves a little bit of a bounce. I want to see the Russell get here. Get down here. Tap this line at 2000. Nice, strong psychological level. We want to have ourselves some imbalances on the 1 hour from here to here. And maybe test here if it gets through. Let's call this level, right? Maybe test here, and then it just gets rejected at that area. But we're starting to put a death cross on the 1 hour, and we can see the Russell really put some power to that downside. All right. So that said, that is pretty much it for all of the tickers. If you, by all means, it looks like I don't have any questions for today. If you want to, you can go ahead and put your tickers inside the chat. I will go back and look at it on tomorrow. Maybe everybody's in recovery mode from New Year's, which is perfectly fine. But I do think every one of y'all that likes and pushes and boosts these videos, I always bring in some new information, and I am looking for this Russell. I'm not gonna lie, this looks really, really good for some downside. I'm gonna wait for this thing to kind of give that bounce here, and I may start to take some really, really strong level puts because I could see this imbalance here, imbalance over here, all gets tested sometime in January. So keep that in mind. I might put a little bit of publish my idea, and I'll give y'all a little bit of a drawing of an angle that I'm looking for when it comes down to the Russell. But either way, I think this one's going to be coming down. That said, thank you very much for tapping in. This is BYTTT. If you don't have a trading community, by all means, click the link down below. Come over to cheat code. We earn and learn together. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video, and also my Instagram and YouTube. Sorry, Instagram and Twitter is down below, and I will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Good morning, my neighbors. Later.